Good morning. So you think LinkedIn is the place that resumes go to die. I get it. So did I. Until I learned the secret sauce that makes LinkedIn work. What am I talking about? We're going to dive into that in just a minute. Hi, I'm Mary Fainbrandt, the CEO and founder of the LinkedIn Bakery, serving up bite-sized tips so you don't get overwhelmed. And today's show, I am so excited. But let's talk about what LinkedIn used to be. When I first started as a LinkedIn trainer, I would refer to LinkedIn as the ugly duckling of the social media platforms. I'm happy to report that it's turned into a beautiful swan with new features and an updated functionality. So today's guest is Viveka von Rosen, co-founder of Vengresso, chief visibility officer, and she's known as the LinkedIn expert. And I'm going to bring her on the show today. You want to grab your coffee, sit down, because we're going to be dropping the secret sauce to make LinkedIn work for you. Let's bring Viveka on the show. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Woo!
Thank you so much for joining me. And thank God that we have technology, especially with everything that's going on right now, right?
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, for what we do in our job, it's not affecting us as much. And I have to put myself, in the shoes of other people who single moms and
those are the ones
brick and mortars.
Out too, is the single moms that, they're single moms, so they're going to have childcare issues. And then, a lot of single moms, sometimes they work two jobs to make ends meet. Yeah. And I'm like, a lot of them work in the restaurant industry or, these service-based industries that are shut down, and that and the seniors.
Yeah.
The ones that can't get out. So
exactly.
There's a lot of food drives in San Diego, and we're actually driving around food for the elderly that can't get out, and to keep them safe. Even if they can't go out, I don't want them to go out.
No, exactly.
I'm like, call me. I'll drop a basket off on your front door. Yeah. So I am just gonna. So you guys know, this is Viveka von Rosen, and 3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago that we met at Social Media Marketing World, and I went to your session. I was volunteering at that time, and I wanted to meet you. And I have to tell this story because I was super nervous. Like, I was fangirl. I was geeking out. I was fangirl. And one of the other volunteers, Heather's like, "Oh, she's so nice. I'll introduce you." I'm like, really? I'm like, "Go introduce me." I was so nervous, and you were so down to earth. And so I like to share that story because of other people, when conferences come back and you want to meet the speakers, generally the speakers want to meet you. So go up and introduce yourself. And now I call you a friend and a colleague, and I look forward to seeing you every year. And I follow you. I'm still a fangirl and geek out. I watch your videos because you provide, I think that your style, it's fun and informative, right? You're so real and relatable. And I think that's something that we'll probably talk about when we dive into more of the LinkedIn stuff. But you're also the best-selling author of the best-selling LinkedIn Marketing An Hour a Day and LinkedIn 101 Ways.
I'm like, don't buy the first one. The first one's like, first of all, who has an hour? Well, now everybody has an hour a day.
But, everybody definitely has an hour a day now.
Yeah. But it's so old and out of print. It's 2011. I mean, think about that in social media world years. That's like 110. So.
But let's, before we dive into all the good stuff, the bite-sized tips that you're going to share today, everybody asked me this question, and I want to get your take on it. People think because I'm a LinkedIn trainer, right? Yeah. LinkedIn strategist, that I spend all day on LinkedIn.
No.
Nobody has time. Like, I really feel, I tell my clients an hour a day and you can rock it.
Yeah, exactly.
Successful, right?
You're looking, I mean, we recommend 20, 30 minutes in the morning. If you've got some time at lunch, you're standing in line, jump on your mobile app, and then, in the evening, prep for the next day. But yeah, you're not going to you'll probably spend more time now than you usually do on LinkedIn. Which is why it's so important to show up. But yeah, normally an hour a day is plenty, even for me. I mean, so, Yeah,
I hear you. So I'm just checking all the platforms to make sure we're going live, because we are multi-streaming. So we are on 3 Facebook channels, LinkedIn Live, which is like my favorite, and YouTube. So
Excellent.
yeah, so technology is still working for us today. Are you finding any issues with like Zoom
Oh
and
my God. Well, we live in the middle of nowhere. So, we're on satellite internet anyway, and now
oh,
everybody's on it. So let's keep our fingers crossed this goes well. So that's number one. Number two, yeah, Zoom. I mean, I don't think Zoom ever expected this many people to be jumping on and using it.
I
So
know.
there's definitely some technical issues. Our folks over in India who manage our LMS system, their servers all went down. So it's interesting times, even for those people who are fully mobile.
Yeah, and I think it's just a time for us to all practice a little more kindness, a little more
Yes.
compassion, a little forgiveness, because my virtual assistant is in the Philippines and her internet's been going down. And you can't get mad
Yeah,
at someone
exactly.
for that. You just have to take a deep breath and understand that we're all in the same boat right now. And I think people will
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Hey, so you know what? I always like my guests to learn a little more about you and how you got started and how, I know you've been doing LinkedIn for years, but how did you get
Yeah.
started and did you pivot at one time? Let's just give everyone, the audience, a little bit of a background.
Yeah. So I was actually running a co-share space company, and we did a lot of, networking events, and that I was really good at. I'd managed to double the business in a year just doing face-to-face networking. But one of the things I love to do is bring in experts. There wasn't such a thing as influencers back then, but bring in experts in certain areas and help our entrepreneurs out. And so I brought in a woman to talk about Web 2.0, which tells you how long ago it was, 2005, 2006. So she was speaking about Web 2.0. And at the very end, she mentioned this thing called LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. There's 7 million people on this network, because 7 million was big. You have to remember, this is 15 years ago. People were, doing face-to-face meetings. The web, it was still pretty much static websites. So a lot has changed since then. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there's definitely no Instagram or TikTok. So for me, 7 million people was a lot. And because we had a virtual aspect to our business, which nowadays it's obsolete. But back then, the idea that you could have a remote secretary who could answer the phone for you and wasn't actually sitting at your office, but was kind of pretending to be, that was a big deal. So we had that aspect. And I thought, oh, I could probably do really, really well on this new platform. And I really just used it as another business tool. Not many people were teaching and training on it yet. So I started doing some local stuff, and a big association that we were a member of heard I was doing that and said, hey, do you want to do a webinar for us? I'm like, what's a webinar? So they set me up and we did a webinar. Then I went and spoke overseas, or not overseas, in New York. It feels like overseas. And that was really kind of the launch of my career. About a year later, was able to quit my day job. And then I started teaching and training on LinkedIn full time. I dipped into the others for a while. Maybe 2009, I was doing kind of all of it. And I was like, this is crazy. There's just, this is crazy. I'm going to stick to LinkedIn. And so I've stuck to LinkedIn ever since.
That's what people always tell me.
I picked my LinkedIn lane. Exactly.
And LinkedIn is my lane. I use Facebook, right? It has its place, but for professionally, LinkedIn is my favorite platform. I get my news there. I create wonderful relationships with business partners, right? I like Facebook to see what's going on in my family. Maybe I'll buy some makeup from someone, or those nail thingies, right? The price point is different, right? What are they called? Those, I don't know. I go to Facebook for that
stuff.
Yeah, I go to Facebook for that kind of stuff. It's a very low price.
Yeah.
You go to LinkedIn.
Yes, exactly.
Connect with the professionals for those higher ticket items, right?
Exactly. Exactly right. Well, and that's the nice thing about LinkedIn. It's set up for business. You don't go to LinkedIn to like hang out and talk to your friends. That's like you said, that's what Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, if you can do videos like that for. But for LinkedIn, your audience is already built in, and you just have to find the right people and start engaging with them.
engaging is key. I just want to give a shout out. We got a bunch of people watching on Facebook and LinkedIn. You guys, if I'm looking away, it's because I've got my cell phone over here with Facebook. I got an extra laptop over here with LinkedIn, and I got my camera and light over here. We're getting this party started. So Amy Irams on, Beth Granger came on, David Coleman came on, Christine Custodio. Hi, Christine. Thanks for that referral. I think I have a speaking gig in June, but now it's probably canceled, but I'll be at UCSD eventually. Yeah. Lisa, good morning. She said that we look fabulous. That's just lighting. I love your lighting.
It is.
I really like your lighting. Mine is a little too bright, and I've bought the filters and they're just not working. So I have to figure something out. So you guys, so it's a 30-minute show.
To that, I'll tell you.
Okay. It's all about telling people.
Are you on a Mac or a PC?
Oh, I'm on a Mac. What?
Oh, good. So there's this tool called, there's a tool called webcam settings. It's literally called webcam settings. So this is what I would normally look like with my lights and like, boo, but I can adjust them. Scary. I can adjust them. And
that's all I need.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Settings. We're done. She just gave us the best tip of the day. Oh, wow. Webcam settings. I'm going to set that up after this then. So you guys, today, I asked Viveka to come on. Viveka is a well sought out speaker, trainer, and she's graciously given us some of her time. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about branding, which everybody needs to know how to brand on LinkedIn. Lead generation, and then video on LinkedIn. And I want to clarify something. Sometimes people think because you're in the same industry, we both train and talk on LinkedIn. Like, why would you have Viveka on? It's going to take away from you. I'm like, absolutely not. It's all about collaboration, lifting everybody up. So I hope that we break some barriers today and that people in the same industry come together and do live shows to share tips and knowledge together, because together we are stronger. That's my philosophy.
You know, ironically, I just did a show with Michaela Alexis, who's another LinkedIn expert, and I'm doing one later on today with Kate Payne, who's another LinkedIn expert. And you're absolutely right. We collaborate, right? The four of us, or all of us, we collaborate. Beth is on the call. I mean, there's enough for everybody, especially now.
Yeah, Yvonne says there's everyone. And Beth Granger and Bryn Tillman, we did that.
We love Evan and Beth, yeah.
I know, 3 minutes, 30 minutes, or three ladies, 30 minutes, 3 time zones. We started a show last year and it was great. It's just 3 women coming on, talking about LinkedIn, answering questions, providing a resource to our audience and network, and then having that authentic conversation in real time. It's not rehearsed, right? And I think that's what really adds the value. Yeah. So,
it does. I think so too.
Let's dive into branding. I'd love to get your thoughts on how businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses, how should they be branding themselves on LinkedIn? What are your top tips?
You know, and you brought it up at the beginning, you know, it's not for just recruiting anymore. Unfortunately, even people who understand that LinkedIn is for sales and marketing and creating conversations, they still have profiles that look like a resume. Probably because, you know, in 2007 or 2010 or 2015, whenever they created their LinkedIn profile, you know, they just uploaded their resume and called it good. But that's not enough anymore. We really like to say, you know, your profile needs to be a resource for your buyers or for your audience. It's more of a sales page, really, without being like nasty, you know? So it needs to be branded. You need to have a background image that's branded to, you know, what your current brand is on your website, on your other socials, but it needs to be branded. And to stand out, you might have some information even on your background image, contact information, etc. But something that helps to build your brand. Your headline, which is that little section underneath your name, should not say title at company. I mean, if mine said CVO of Vengresso, like you wouldn't even know what that was, right? Is Vengresso soup? Is it, you know, what's a CVO, like chief vitality officer? Like I work out at a soup company. Like you wouldn't know. So I have to take the time to explain who I help and how I help them. And that's what you should do, because, unless if a buyer is Googling you, which they probably will, either you or your company, and your LinkedIn profile shows up and they jump over to it, they want to know how you can help them. They don't really care about you yet. You haven't built the relationship yet. So they don't care, but they want to know how you can help them. And so your profile really needs to be buyer centric. It needs to focus on your buyer, how you help them. And so your headline, who you help, how you help them, in 120 characters or less, unless you have an iPhone, and then you can do it on your iPhone for 240 characters. That's another little ninja trick there. Yeah, yeah. And then you expand upon that in your summary section or your about section. And truly, and Bryn does a really, really good job of this. If you want to go check out Bryn Tillman's profile, but she does a really excellent job of basically making her about section a good sales page where she gets people involved. And then she actually, shares media and shares assets. And that's the other thing, is in your experience sections, in your about section, you need to share assets. You need to share media. You need to share useful information, whether it's, case studies, white papers, checklists, video testimonials from happy clients. All of that comes together to serve the buyer. And let's face it, most of us are at home right now. And when we get tired of Facebook, we might jump over to LinkedIn. So I've noticed my viewership has gone up significantly, the people who viewed my profile since all this started, because people have more time right now. So it's a good time to get all of that started.
I agree. And that's everything that I teach my clients too.
Yeah.
Like headline, don't put your title. I'm like, no one's, they don't want, you have 6 seconds to capture someone's attention. 6 seconds. That's top full. That's your background banner, a fabulous headshot where you're smiling and you look friendly, so people will want to connect with you. And then, and then to have what we call in the LinkedIn bakery is a hot headline. Yeah. Right? You want a hot headline that someone's like, what is that?
Yeah.
And they might not know, but they're like, oh, that sounds intriguing. And then they're going to read more in your about section.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah. So I love summaries when they're broken down and tell the buyer, your audience, what you do, who you work with, how you help them, and give testimonials and next steps. Always have a call to action, folks.
Exactly. Always have that call to action. Always give them something that they can take away with it.
Yeah, I love that. So our next one, this is what everybody wants to know. And I've seen you speak several times, right? And I went to the coffee, with Michaela and John.
Oh, yeah.
I was there in the front row, like taking pictures and stuff. But I'm interested to hear what other tips you have about lead generation on LinkedIn, because this is one of the things that I get asked all the time, and I'm all about organic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love AJ, and if I had a giant budget for ads, I would totally hire him and do LinkedIn ads. But LinkedIn, God bless them. LinkedIn is still, I don't think they figured out the monetization yet of ads. Their platform is not nearly as sophisticated as Facebook, and the ads I don't think work as well. So if you make an effort on your organic, I think you're going to get much better results. What I love about it is anytime they come out with a new toy, right? So LinkedIn Live, which I'm still waiting for.
Sorry.
Whatevs. Or back a couple of years ago, native video. They came out, it was so silly, the documents, being able to download a PDF. But they were like, ooh, it's our new toy, so we're going to give lots of juice to it. So anytime LinkedIn comes out with a new feature, especially if it's an engagement feature or a content feature, use it if you can get access to it, because LinkedIn's always going to give that more algorithm juice. So I'll get 5 to 10,000 views on a post and, 20, 30, 40 comments on average. And so there's a couple tricks to that.
Tell us what they are.
Yeah. So the first thing is use what's new, because LinkedIn's going to obviously give it more juice. Hashtags are definitely a thing. I tested this the other day. I thought it was probably true, but I hadn't tested it in a while. So I wrote similar posts, same content. And I did one just on my timeline, just where you're supposed to do it. And I added the hashtags in. On the other one, I went to the hashtag community. Or they're not called communities anymore, hashtag timeline. So I put the hashtag in the search bar, and then and it populated the timeline of people talking about that particular hashtag. And then I wrote my post there. Well, I always write them out first. I copied and pasted it in there. Because I'm a terrible speller and I like using emojis.
Me too, dyslexic. Oh my God, it's a hot mess.
So I always do it first, and then I use Grammarly, and that catches most of it, but always there's at least one spelling error. But I copied it and pasted it in the timeline. The timeline one got like 11,000 views, comments, engagements, and the other one got like 64.
Really? So you go to the hashtag community, or not community, I call it that too.
Yeah, no, that's
go there and post there.
Post from there. So that's
a tip I didn't know. See,
there you go. So there's ninja trick. Yeah. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 3 is obviously mention anyone that's relevant to don't go crazy. Like, how some people do that on Facebook, drives me nuts.
Or you have someone, you tell them that tip. You're like, here's the tip. Tag people, and then they tag you every time. And then you have to write them a message and say, whoa,
exactly.
It's not relevant. That event is not relevant, or that thing over there you're doing isn't relevant to me. So you can't tag me every time.
Yeah. It has to be relevant to them. And I don't go crazy. I mean, but if I'm talking about a book, I'll tag the author. If I'm talking about an event, I might tag some of the speakers. If I'm talking about one of our clients, I'll tag our point of contact and some of the sales leadership. But yeah, you don't go crazy like people do on Facebook. That drives me nuts.
We tag sponsors. We do local San Diego. And so all of our sponsors, we do what works great for our smaller events. Well, we had 100 people. We tag the sponsors, but we do one post where everyone's tagged. And then every day we do a tag where we feature a sponsor and tag them on their company page if they have one.
I love it.
That just,
keeps it going.
Keeps it going.
It keeps it going. So to that point, these are not in any particular order anymore, but I'm just going to go. So that point, and I forget what ninja trick we're on. You're going to want to save your videos. You can always use a unique hashtag, and you should. So we use like hashtag Vangresso vids, hashtag Vangresso pics. You should always use a unique hashtag so you can find those posts again, something that no one else is going to use. But I actually, I use Chrome. So I have a gazillion folders, and I put my better videos, the ones or posts, the ones that I think I'm going to use again. They're, I'll answer another good ninja trick is use your media to answer your FAQs, right? Your frequently asked questions.
Yes.
And then, right? That way, when someone asks you the question again, you don't have to type it all out. You just go to your saved video or post, and then, just say, oh yeah, I actually just wrote a post about that, copy, paste. And the nice thing about that is they go look at it, and it starts to re-energize the post, and then you'll get even more views. So save those posts or videos, not articles. Articles, are a little more permanent, but they don't get as much juice as they used to. But definitely save those posts and videos and documents that you've created that answers those frequently asked questions. Another thing is use those up to 1,300 characters to write like almost a mini post. I always like to, most of the time, I'll address the person I'm speaking to. So whether they're a sales professional or a sales leader, that's really our niche market, or niche, depending on if you're Canadian or not. So we'll address the buyer first, like, hey, sales leaders, and then the problem, are you stuck doing blah, blah, blah? Are you finding it hard to do remote working? Are you worried about keeping track of your sales? Whatever, right? So, hey, buyer persona, state the question, and then say, we totally get it. I wrote this article. There's this video. I uploaded this PowerPoint or this infographic. And in it, I cover bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, because some people don't want to click through and read the whole thing. Some people don't want to watch the whole video. But if you give them enough bullet points, then they can go, okay, maybe I will take the 2 to 3 minutes to invest in this piece of media. And then to your point earlier, Mary, you always, always, always put a call to action there. Now, some people say to put the link in comments. We played around with both.
And findings are, because I've always heard to put it in comments, but I don't always do that.
Nah, that was true a year or two ago. And it was, and Agorapulse actually did a study on it. And so what they found was you do get 10 to 20% less viewers if you put it, or less viewers if you put the link in the content rather than in the comments. But no one sees it. But the comments link can drop down, and yeah, so
that's
people.
Why I'm like, well, then people
they're not driving them anywhere.
Right. If you have 50 people watching it, and you're gonna, you're only gonna get like 10 of them to do anything, but then 5 of those people aren't going to do anything because they're not going to see it, and they're too lazy to, people aren't trained to do that. So I mean, I tell people to do that when I'm training them, but I'm like, but I don't always do it. I'm like totally transparent. I don't always do it because I don't really, in my heart, I don't agree with that.
Right. Yeah, I don't.
In my mind, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I want to see that. Oh, here's the link to register.
Yeah, with like little pointy fingers.
Like here, click that link right there. Yeah. So that's good to know. So you can put the link in your content, in your original post. You might just lose 10% viewership.
Yeah. Which those 10% might not have clicked through anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, and then the final thing that we do, I'm getting some feedback. Are you hearing the feedback? Let me put this closer. There we go. The final thing that we do is we get little sharing communities. So, in messaging, and we do this with our clients. I literally in one of my trainings have them create little sharing communities so they can just pop their links in there and they all share it with each other. We do it with our company, and I've got 3 or 4 different influencer sharing groups, right? A women sales pros sharing group, a LinkedIn sharing group, right? And the thing is, and this is what I talked about, social media marketing world. It's not about numbers anymore. It used to be, how big is your network? How big is your network?
Right.
But really it's quality, as it always has been. It's quality now. And so I've got a huge network because I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. But if I don't get the right percentage of engagement, and I'm going to make this up and say it's 10%. I actually have no idea what it is. But if I don't get the right percentage of engagement, LinkedIn's like, meh. And it doesn't do anything to promote the post beyond my network. Whereas, some of my folks who have smaller networks, but really, really engaged connections, they all jump all over it. And then it gets shared and expanded and expanded. And they're the ones who get 100,000 views.
So the more engagement you have early on, also, that really helps boost that post. And I think that also, when we're talking about that engagement factor, is that being consistent. Also, because if you're consistent, people are watching for you. They know we drop a tip every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Right?
Yeah, I love
people
that.
know that's coming out. They know my show's on Wednesday. So there's a lot of, being consistent, which doesn't mean you have to post every day.
No.
But I love to tell people to have something consistent. Maybe twice a week you have a post that goes out and people are watching for that, and then increasing that engagement, because that's what LinkedIn wants at the end of the day. They want to see people who are creating content and you have an audience that engages.
That's exactly right. Yep. Exactly right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So did we cover video?
Yeah. I don't have live yet.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, it's funny because I'm actually a LinkedIn author, and all of the LinkedIn learning authors or instructors are supposed to have live. So when I say LinkedIn hates me, I mean it.
Wow.
Yeah. You're supposed to automatically get live as an author so that you can promote it.
We're going to write
and, promote your program. So I love live. I think to your point that you said earlier, don't just throw it up there, be walking around and, like you do on Instagram or Facebook, like, and your first live shouldn't be about live. But like your first blab was about blab, right? Always. You guys remember blab? They need to bring blab back right now.
That's what everyone is saying.
Oh my gosh.
Blab back.
Bring back. Yeah. But when it comes to video, because I do have native video, thankfully, as does everybody. It doesn't have to be a super polished video. I would recommend using some kind of subtitle tool if you've got it. We use Subtitle, Zubtitle, but there's a lot of good ones out there. There's even free ones out there. So you should subtitle it because a lot of folks can't, well, they're not in their cubicle anymore. I guess they're at home, but maybe they don't want to disturb their husband or their wife or their dog or their children. And so they're going to read a video, but they might not actually listen to it. So subtitle it if possible, keep it under 3 minutes. If you're teaching or training on something, you can go a little bit longer. Like I've got some that are 6 minutes, but you've got to be sharing good information to hold people's attention that long. The best videos between 30 seconds and a minute.
Yeah.
And and then
longer than 10 minutes, it should be on YouTube.
Right, exactly.
So
well, yeah, because if it's over 10 minutes, it doesn't go on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So people do like training videos, which are great, but they're longer. So what I always suggest is you break that down into snippets like a promo, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a promo video, a teaser, and then lead them over to YouTube or your website to watch the full video.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Cool.
And I was finding for a while that native video is doing like a lot better than sharing the YouTube link. Again, that's a little bit evened out. So I still prefer native video, but the last 2 videos, I was just too lazy to upload them natively. So I just grabbed our YouTube link. I mean, I'll be honest. And they still got like 10,000 views each. So, I probably would have gotten 20 if I'd done the native. So do native if you can, but it's better to use a YouTube link than nothing at all. If that's what you've got.
It's better to do some video than no video at all.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if you're not doing video on LinkedIn, I want to challenge you to get a video out this next week. And you know what? I'm going to say, go ahead and tag me in it. If this is your first time and I'm encouraging you to take that step, I want you to tag me and say, thanks, Mary, for encouraging me to do a video, and I'll help boost it up for you. Because I want people to get on video, because that is the way of the future, guys, whether we like it or not. I'm like, yes, I'm at home, but today I did the hair and makeup.
Yes, exactly. It's so true. And here's what pisses me off. Guys, they may brush their hair, right? Now, my friend Jason, I did a video about working remotely a couple days ago. And my colleague and friend Jason said, I actually do have the shine buster, right? So I've got mine if I get too shiny. And so I do have one guy who if he gets too shiny, he does the shine buster, which I should have done earlier. But
all these facts
funny. And they don't have hair, some of them. So then they don't have to worry about their hair, or they just throw on a baseball cap, Brian Fanzo it. Done. Right? I wish I was Sue Zimmerman, because she has already established herself as the hat lady. So she's having a bad hair day. Boom, with the hat, she's good.
Gosh, what can I
know?
do? Well, and right now,
get a wig. I was going to get a wig that I could, but
now with everything going on, like I'm going to be due for some hair maintenance, and this is going to get a little wild. Like I'm real. When my mom went missing that time, I instantly got gray hair overnight, like right here. So it's covered up. But if I pull my hair back, here comes I call my mom gray.
Yeah, exact. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh, we're going to see some wild shit out there in about.
Oh, and the gels, as the gels grow out.
My nails off. So I'm lucky. I did that in January, but now I paint my own nails and it's a pain.
Yeah.
But so this has been so fun and informative. I loved all the tips that you dropped. I even learned a couple things, so this is great. We have a lot of engagement going
Yay.
on LinkedIn and the Facebook, and I'll go back, and Viveka and I both promise to go back in, answer any questions, comment. And I know that you have a freebie for everyone. There's a link that I need to share. So when we're done here, I'm going to drop that link in so you guys can grab the freebie. Do you want to, is it a Vengreso book?
Oh, yeah, it's the link is just Vengreso ebook, so I can easily remember it. But it's our ebook on, and it's free, of course, on profile, building your profile. So if you do have questions about building your profile, just go to Vengreso ebook. And we actually, what we did was we took my book, 101 Ways to Rock Your Personal Brand, and we just basically pulled all the tips out of that, and then rearranged them a little bit and then offered it for free. So you don't have to buy either of my books. Don't buy the first one because it's too old and outdated. And the second one because you can actually pretty much get it for free.
That's awesome. I love that about you, that you're just always willing to share and give away the great tips so that we all can learn how to rock your brand on LinkedIn. Right? That's fabulous.
And then the only other thing I'd say is our $500 Selling with LinkedIn course. Because of coronavirus, we've knocked it down to 97. So if you've ever, and which is our cost. We actually have some hard costs with it. So if you've wondered about how to use LinkedIn more effectively for selling, and you got a little extra time on your hands, because it's a lot, we've got 9 modules, about an hour each. So it's a full-time job for a week going through and doing the exercises. But if you got a little extra time, we've knocked it down to 97. You can just go to our website. It's the top banner. You just click through there and
drop that link in too. And since we're going to be wrapping up, I'm going to throw an offer out there too, because Yvonne Hyman of Ask Evie, her and I started this idea in November. And then the holidays happened and some other stuff. And because of coronavirus, right? And we are at home. And I predicted last year that online summits were going to peak in 2020. Well, we've seen them rise. So Evie and I are launching, we have our pre-release of Summit Hero, how to create your first online summit. And we're diving deep in this. Checklists, video tutorials, workbooks. We've got how to choose your speakers, because you don't just call up your buddies. The people that there's certain things that you want to look for in your speakers, your deliverables, the marketing. So we are releasing April 6th for $97.
Oh my God, that is priceless right now. Because you're right. I mean, who knows? Will we be going to Inbound in August? Maybe, maybe not. Will we be going to Content Marketing World in October? Maybe, maybe not. But we can always stand in front of our computers or sit in front of our computers
online summits are gonna take off. I mean, I can't wait for conferences to come back, but we just know, I said it last year that online summits are what is going to happen. That's how we're going to market. That's how we're going to bring information and great speakers to the masses. And so we started working on this last November, and I produced a couple online summits with a couple people, and I learned a lot from that. What doesn't work, what your timeline really is. You can't put it together in 30 days unless you're working 10 hours a day, but you have to give time to promote. So we've really, we co-work on this all the time, and we're recording videos, and it's going to be amazing. I'm so proud of this. And I know that what I really like is that it's going to help people continue to brand themselves, continue to grow their business, and to, pivot if they need to. Maybe they're doing online events. You guys move over, or maybe you're doing in-person events. You can create an online summit just the way that you would your online event. You can even get sponsors. So
exactly. It's a perfect time for that. I love that you're releasing that, because that's what people need to do. And also that you said, pivot, because now is the time to pivot. If you've been stuck in a job that you hate, and even though this LinkedIn isn't just for job seekers, but if you've been stuck in a job you hate and it's time for you to invest in yourself, there's no better time to position yourself as a thought leader, as an expert, to start speaking on these online summits, to position yourself that way on LinkedIn. Now is the time, folks. You'll never have a time like this. Hopefully we'll never have a time like this ever again. But
Yeah. So
there is opportunity.
yeah, I think this is a great time to invest in yourself, update your LinkedIn profile, figure out what your brand is if you don't know. Viveka and I, both of us, I mean, even though we're in the same industry, we serve different clients.
Yep.
Right. And we can't serve all of you. So reach out
Exactly.
to us because, you know, if it's not the right client for me, I'm going to refer you, whoops, that way over to Viveka. I always do that backwards.
I do too. I never know. Yeah, exactly.
I always have to look at the screen like that way. But
that way.
this has been so fun. Thank you. I'm going to put up my slide. What did I see over here? Oh, you got the Vengresso book. Is that the link right there?
Vengresso ebook, www.vengresso ebook with Lynn F.
I'm just going to drop that in over here on comments. And then I'll make sure that I drop that in because this does Facebook. I'm using StreamYard today.
Yeah.
Go over to LinkedIn and I'll drop that in as well. And then you know what? That's it. I'm going to put up my slide after I say goodbye to Viveka. Let me put that. You know what? I don't like to do that. Let's. Oh, not that one. There you guys. There you go. There's a slide. Launch your online summit with ease. Sign up for the pre-release. The pre-release is only $97. It's the Academy at askev.com. And we have more information. If you're interested in that, just comment on one of these platforms and myself or Evie will get back to you. So it's going to be a fabulous course that you can not throw together, but learn how to do an online summit. Our thing is we want it to be profitable for you. And we're going to teach you how to make it profitable.
I love that.
So many tricks, you know? So, okay. I know that we all have other things to do, even though we're stuck in our homes, Viveka. I just adore you. I am a big fangirl of yours. I will continue to be. And thank you just for being you and for saying yes. Mwah. And your hair looks fabulous today.
As does yours.
Well, thank you. Okay, folks. So this is Mary Thane Brandt, CEO and founder of the LinkedIn Bakery, where we serve up bite-sized tips so you don't get overwhelmed. We'll be back on April 22nd. Actually, I forgot. I have a special edition this Saturday at 10 a.m. I have a financial expert, insurance expert coming on to talk about the stimulus package and other resources out there for you and for my business owners. So there's some grants coming up. How do you get those? How do you apply for those? What does that stimulus package mean? How's your retirement doing? So she's going to come on and we're going to do like a 30-minute show and try to answer your questions. So we'll get that information out. We're adding it on today. Should have that information posted by tomorrow, but I'll be here on all my channels, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time this Saturday. Okay. Ciao, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.